Good afternoon and welcome to this week's BizSmart Lunch and Learn webinar. Our weekly webinars are aimed to provide advice and share key knowledge on business topics and specialist areas. And our host today is BizSmart Select member Liz Painter from who is here to talk about how to improve our website and win more clients. Before we start our webinar, can I ask you all to use the question mark function on your screen to post any questions that you may have for Liz, and she will answer them all at the end of the session. Okay, thank you, Liz. Over to you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Liz Painter. Today I'm going to talk about the things you can do to improve your website and ultimately win more customers. First of all, are you proud of your website? Because the thing is, if you haven't got a website to be proud of, then you're going to be reticent to send people to that website. Have you got engaging copy? Does it read well? Have you got great design? Does it look good and have consistent branding with great profile pictures of you and your staff? Is it easy to understand what you do when you look at your website? Can you look at the homepage and immediately see what you do and why it could be of benefit? Have you got social proof? Have you got testimonials? Have you got case studies showing how you've helped clients, telling a story of the journey you've taken them on using your products or services? The best way to show what you're good at is using other people's words. If someone else says the service was brilliant, this has transformed our business, we wouldn't hesitate to recommend this company to all of our business contacts. That's going to sound a lot more convincing than if you say, we can transform your business and we offer great customer service. Have you got calls to action on your website? Do you ask the reader to do anything? Everyone's incredibly busy and easily distracted these days. So if you tell us what you want us to do next when we visit your website, whether that's to call you or fill in a form or place an order, then we're much more likely to do it than if you just leave it up to us to make up our own minds. What's the purpose of your website? Is it there to promote your business? Is it there to sell your products and services? Sign up new clients? Demonstrate how your products work, give examples of projects you've worked on, encourage people to apply for a job with you, or perhaps even create a community of people with similar interests. Back in the 1990s it was enough just to have a website. This marked you out as a forward-thinking business and people were impressed that you were online. A brochure site was just fine. These days your website needs to do a lot more than just exist to impress people. Most businesses would have only one or two core aims when it comes to their website. Unless you have an e-commerce site and you want people to buy from you online, generally you want people to either leave their details so you can contact them, or you want them to call or email you. So to some extent, the copy on your website should all be persuading people to pick up the phone or fill in that contact form. You may also want to inform and educate them about things. The words on the website are there to inform, influence, persuade, and sell. Of course, there might be other peripheral functions, such as showing that you're a good employer, but it's a good idea to decide on a core purpose for your website and focus mainly on that. Think about your reader. Do you have a good idea who your main target customer is? If it's everyone, then you need to give it some more thought. The more focused in on specific groups of people you can get, the better, because it's impossible to appeal to everyone. For example, if you wanted to appeal to teenagers and the over 70s, you'd find it very challenging to write in a vernacular that appealed to both. So you'd have to write something very middle of the road and appeal to neither. That's quite an extreme example, but it gets the point across. So you want to focus in on a very specific group of people and aim to appeal to them. For example, if you're a business coach who helps people develop exit strategies in preparation for retirement, then your target market is likely to be men aged 55 to 65. If there are other groups of people that you want to work with, for example, if you want to help 40 and 50-somethings to plan their business better to make an exit strategy easier later, then you may want to create some separate marketing materials for this group of people, perhaps downloadable ebooks and reports, blog posts or emails. But at the end of the day, you need to focus on the core group of people that need your services. Once you're clear on who your market is, you need to write for them. What can you help them with? What are their pain points? The things that keep them awake at night? What are the problems that they need to solve? These are the things that you need to focus in on. If you're new to business and you're not sure about pain points, then you could send out a brief questionnaire to your clients. Or if there's only a handful of clients for you to ask, then give them a call. Why did they buy your products or services? What problem did it solve for them? When you're writing your website copy, you also need to hone in on what's unique about what you do. I see a lot of people look at a competitor's website, usually one that's recently been revamped, and say, I want us to look like that. But this is the absolute opposite of what you should be doing. You need to stand out from the crowd and demonstrate what's different about what you do. If you don't do this, then you're helping to commoditize your business and ensure that your potential customers will compare on price. If you can pick out what makes you unique and really explain why that's beneficial to your customers, then price becomes much less of an issue. In the same way that someone who's a convert to Apple computers, iPads and iPhones will not be looking to compare prices when they buy their next smartphone or tablet, you can ensure that your clients come to you because only you deliver what they want. Price won't be an issue. It's important to cover the features and benefits of your product or service. Cover the features but place more emphasis on the benefits. Tell them why they will benefit from working with you. The easiest way to focus on benefits is via testimonials and case studies. Anything that tells a story about a client is automatically more engaging than you explaining how great you are. In a case study, tell the whole story. What problem did the customer have? What made them come to you? How did you solve the problem? What was the result? And what ongoing work are you doing together now? If you find it a challenge to write a case study about your own business, ask someone else to do it for you. Clearly, you could employ a copywriter if you wanted to, but it may be that you have a member of staff or a family member who would be happy to call up your clients and ask them questions for a case study. A lot of business owners find it hard to call up their clients and ask for details, so using a third party makes it easier. With testimonials, some clients will write a brilliant one first time, but if they don't, then don't be afraid to give them some guidance. For example, if you already have plenty of testimonials about how brilliant the quality of your product is, but you're missing ones that focus on delivery time or customer service, then ask your client to tailor their testimonial accordingly. It's always best to get clients to write their own testimonial if you can. It sounds more natural and authentic. But if you're struggling to get one from someone, then you can offer to write it yourself. Just send it over to them and ask them to sign it off. Using words is a brilliant way to persuade and inform your website visitors, but don't forget the impact that video and pictures can have too. Not everyone is keen on reading text. Some people prefer a video, and videos on your website can also improve your Google rankings. When it comes to pictures, the ideal scenario is to have images taken by a professional photographer. This will showcase your business and give your website a more individual feel. If you must use stock images, then select carefully and make sure they don't look like stock images. No cheerful call centre operatives with headsets or men in suits shaking hands. When it comes to creating an engaging website, it goes without saying that the design needs to look good. If it doesn't, people will often click away from your site without even reading the words. We know that you need engaging copy that explains what you do. This element of the website can usually be written once and then refreshed every now and then if any elements of your service change. Most businesses will want to do a full rewrite every few years, on average every 3 years, unless your business is growing and changing particularly quickly. It's important to look at your website as a growing and changing thing rather than a static brochure site. Keep adding new blog posts and perhaps developing downloadable resources for different target groups. This will ensure your website stays fresh and gives people a reason to come back for another visit. It also helps to show Google that you have an active website that is being regularly updated, and this will improve your rankings. Why is it that people go to your website and then leave without actually reading any of it? Quite often, if it's not clear what you do, people won't hang around to try and figure it out. Make sure you ask people who know nothing about your industry to read your website and let you know whether they can understand what you do. If your website is overly wordy with long-winded paragraphs and sentences and perhaps large blocks of text, this can be off-putting. People just won't wade through it. As soon as another email pings up on their computer, you'll have lost them, if not before. The way around this is to create what's called a dual readership path, so there's two ways through the text. It means you write copy with both the reader and the skimmer in mind. Include plenty of subheadings, bullet points and numbered lists, so that even if someone is skimming the website, they'll still get the gist of what you do. Don't be boring. You probably wouldn't have gone into business if you didn't have some kind of passion or enthusiasm for what you do, or the results you get for your clients. So make sure that that comes across in the copy. Now, there are some common pitfalls when it comes to websites, that are mistakes that you see over and over again on people's websites, and it's one of the reasons why I kind of joke that I'm saving the planet from badly written websites, because there's quite a lot of bad writing online. So first of all, don't cut and paste your copy from elsewhere, whether that's from your own marketing literature or from another site, someone else's, perhaps a competitor's. A, it's going to be bad for your Google rankings, and B, it just means the copy's not really fit for purpose, and it might not fit the space. You might be trying to squeeze it in. So it's always better to write your website copy specifically for your website. Don't go overboard with jargon or complicated language. Some people do this because they want to appear like they know what they're talking about and that they're, you know, at the top of their profession, but it's actually, it just makes the text a lot more dense and quite unreadable at times. Don't be pompous or insincere. If you're saying stuff like, oh, we at Corporation X do this, it just doesn't come across very well. So try to be conversational in your tone of voice on your website. Avoid using the passive voice. It's not going to give any energy to the copy on your website. So the way I explain it is you put the actor before the act. So Kevin kicked the ball rather than the ball was kicked by Kevin. So the active voice is Kevin kicked the ball. It just puts a bit more dynamism into your website. Don't be overly wordy. Say what you need to say and then move on to another topic. You don't want to be repeating yourself. Avoid too many hyperlinks. You do see this sometimes where, you know, every other word in a paragraph is a link, and it's very distracting and actually takes people away from your site quite often, because they'll be reading along and they'll think, well, what does that mean? And they'll click on the link and off they go, and they may never return. So, you know, a couple of external links is good for Google rankings and can be useful, but not hundreds of them. Don't focus too much on keywords. We've all been to websites where keywords has clearly been the main focus, and the repetition of the same phrases over and over again makes it unreadable. And make sure your navigation is clear. It needs to be really simple for people to find their way around your website. Don't create a maze of different web pages with no clear route through them. It's best to think about the structure of your website at the start rather than let it evolve too much, because then you will find that people don't really know where to go, and when they don't know what to do, that's another reason people will leave your website. So what should you have on a standard business website? These are the standard pages most business owners would want. If you wanted to cut back to the bare minimum, you could have home, about, our services, product, and contact. That would be the bare minimum. But generally, you'll want a meet the team page that introduces some of the people behind your business. You'll definitely want a why choose us page, because if someone's looking at you and perhaps some of your competitors as well, that will just explain to them what's unique about you, why you're better than your competitors, and the benefits that you give your clients, and it makes it much easier for them to choose to get in touch with you. You've got your testimonials page. Ideally, you'd have a couple of individual testimonials on some of the other pages as well, because some people won't want to wade through all of your testimonials in one place, but then there are other people that will sit and read a whole testimonials page, so you need to cater for both sets of people. A blog is always a good idea. It makes it really easy for you to update your website on a regular basis, which Google likes, and it means it can help you from an SEO point of view. You can get in the keywords that you need without going over the top on other pages, and it's just a great way to keep your website fresh, and it also gives you things that you can tweet about and share on LinkedIn and that kind of thing. So in summary, a great website is going to capture people's attention quickly. It's going to clearly explain what you do. It's going to outline your USP. You'll avoid long-winded sentences and paragraphs. Be interesting and engaging. Speak to a specific market and encourage action. And then finally, I'll just touch on this briefly. Once your website is looking good, you'll want to think about how you get traffic to your website. Now, there's a number of different ways you can do this. You can pay for traffic through Google AdWords or Facebook ads, depending on what sort of business niche you're in. You can email out to your list of clients and prospects that you should have. You can put blogs up on Twitter and on LinkedIn with links back to your website. So this will all help you get traffic to your website, which is something that you should focus on once you've got a great website in place. Okay, thank you for listening.
Great, okay. Thank you very much, Liz. Let's see if you've got any questions. Okay, yeah, you've got a question. First one is from Lucy, and she asks, I have a lot to do to update my website. Where do you suggest I start?
I'd suggest starting with the design of the website, because actually if it doesn't look good, then it's not that likely that people will stay and read unless you're in a real individual niche with no other people in that niche. Then in that case they might overlook the design, but generally I'd say start with the design. Then you want to move on to the words for your main pages, like your home page, your about page, your services page. Get some testimonials in, and once you've done all of that, then I'd move on to extras like getting a video shot and that kind of thing.
Okay, thank you. You got another question. This one's from Mike, and he asks, if I don't know my USP, how do I work it out?
One of the best ways to do that is to go to your existing customers and ask them why they work with you over anyone else. Getting the words of your customers is a really good way to find out what they value about what you do, because what you think is good might not be the same as what your customers actually value.
Okay, thank you very much. I've got another question now from Simon, and he asks, how many keywords should I use on each page?
Okay, so to some extent you need to use your common sense. I think we can all tell when we've gone too far with adding in too many keywords, but probably 2 or 3 on a standard website page is plenty. And if it's sounding clunky and it's sounding like you've got too many in there, then definitely take one out. Just don't go over the top.
Okay, thank you. You've got another question from Nick, and he says, what are your thoughts on mobile-enabled websites?
Every website needs to be accessible from a smartphone. Google will penalise you if you don't make it so that your website looks good on a smartphone.
Okay, thank you. Kevin is asking, can you give a rough idea of what a typical website should cost?
Oh gosh, that's a challenge. In terms of copy, it can range from, let me think, for a small website with maybe 3 or 4 pages, will probably range from about £500 up to maybe £1,500 for a bigger website, just for the copy. I can't speak for the design. Designers range from, your template site that costs not very much at all through to a highly individual design, which can be thousands of pounds.
Okay, thank you. Another question from Philip. What is better, long form or short form blogs and article?
Better for what, I would say. If you're trying to inform and educate people via a blog post, for example, then I don't think length is an issue. You can go as long as you want, as long as you're continuing to be engaging and interesting and genuinely give value, then there's no limit to length. And actually, I know that some SEO people are recommending that you do have some long-form articles amongst your blogs, ideally more than 1,500 words, not for everyone, but some. But yeah, just use the number of words you need to get your point across, really. Don't be overly wordy, but there's no need to keep them artificially short. Okay, great. I think that's all the questions coming through for you. Thank you all for joining us today. I will be sending out a copy of Liz's presentation and her contact details, so if you wish to contact her direct, please do so. Thank you, Liz, for hosting today's webinar. We hope you can join us again next week, next Tuesday for our webinars. We hope you all have a great afternoon.